Alright, this is a end of the day video for November the 12th. I'm going to review the swing long trade I had on LIACF, which panned out pretty nicely. An unplanned trade I had on NUZE, which I kind of struggled with. And then just a few ideas going forward for these three stocks. So I'll start off with LIACF. This was a lithium OCT stock that I was watching beginning of the week. The original idea was for it to call and consolidate around fours and break out, which is exactly what happened. But after I saw these big slams here, I got short biased on it when I saw it had a huge gap up here. Got caught in a little squeeze yesterday, and then I realized it was a very nice breakout setup, and I flipped my position early yesterday and held it into today. So on the daily or in the intraday chart, basically I shorted it yesterday or 2 days ago just into the close a bit, and I added a little in the fours. Down in here was a decent trade, but I thought I was going to get a whole collapse. Obviously it didn't, and then I got out of my position here on Thursday, and I shorted I longed a tiny bit here, and then added on dips twice. I had about a 410 average going into today. And then today I sold a little into the gap up, about 1/3 of my position just to be safe. Sold a second third into the strength at the close, and we'll see what kind of gap we get on Monday, but ideally gaps up and spikes, and I'll get rid of the rest. Actually, originally I thought it would, gap up less and then come back down to this 417 so I could add, but the gap was pretty big. I just felt uncomfortable adding up here. Although it would have been a great opportunity right into low 430s. So the other trade I took in trade 0 was a short on this runner. NUZE is about a 10 million float, rotated the float I think about 4 or 5 times yesterday. I think this volume is wrong. It traded more than it's showing, less than it's showing on Thursday. Let's just see what the real volume is. Oh no, 75 million. Okay, so it really rotated the float yesterday. It was quite erratic, a lot of halts up. And then this morning my plan was to short and risk off of 760. And I took a little bit pre-market, and I liked my original plan. If I had stuck to it, it would have been fine, but I think I was a little bit overwhelmed because I was in 2 stocks and I haven't done that for a while. So I shorted 1/4 of my position here, 250 shares. Then it looked weak out of the open, and this is where I screwed up. I added and got my position down a lot, and then I covered all up into here. My original plan was to add 1/4 at 7 and then save the last half for the 760s. If I had done that, the trade would have been, seamless and smooth. But I took a loss here, and I got back in, and I got back out, and I got back in, and finally, in the end, I made like 360 on the trade, I think, but I traded 6,000 shares, and the locates were actually about $90, so it ended up being not much more than a scratch, which is quite disappointing. Another chart on my radar for this week or near future is OTC. AABB is a funny name. Had a massive run not too long ago, 8 to 28, and then as expected a big collapse, and then of course a bounce like they usually do. It's really holding well, so I'm thinking, if it comes down again to this yeah, like these 20 holds this 23 area, 22 area. It would be amazing if it broke through here. Like this is just a nice clean. I imagine it would blast through the 33s and maybe get as far as the 60s. That could be an amazing trade. What I don't like is that there's big volume on this day where it topped out in 28. So it would need some good volume to get through there. And also just the price point is not my favorite. I'm not a big fan of sub-dollar stocks. I'd rather be like a penny. Commissions would be less. Another thing on my watch was Fannie Mae. I just noticed it. I saw it on a few other traders' watch lists. This thing has been just demolished. But it really has a nice curl going here. And I imagine a breakout here could be great. It has room up to the 160s. Assuming it gets to the 120s. But also just even right here, it has resistance. So, I wouldn't mind taking a tiny bit over 102, and if it gets over this 108, I could add and, try to be patient with it. And the last thing was Tilray. This week was kind of frustrating for that stock. I just couldn't get it right. If I just bought some and, forgot about it, I would have done fine. But I was in and out this day, in and out on this day, in and out on today, and I just took a small piece here and was risking not much, and it just didn't work, so I'm going to let it go. I imagine that it's going to do something long-term, something wild, but I'll wait for some very obvious cues to get in.